Today's show is obviously a review of the U-Turn Orbit Gen 2 belt drive turntable made in the USA. Now, before we go into that, I just want to say, I feel a little defensive about this a little bit, is that I keep hearing from people that vinyl, that records are too expensive. And I'm not exactly sure. I mean, yeah, there are expensive records, absolutely. Expensive meaning over $30. But I find records all the time here in New York City, an expensive place to live, for $10 and $12 in used record stores, sometimes on the street, in thrift stores. Affordable records are out there. And I'm a big supporter and customer of Discogs. And, you know, I'm trying to find a hard-to-find record. And, yeah, some of them are out of my price range. But some of them are, yeah, under 20 bucks for really interesting, cool records. Because I keep growing my record collection. I'm far from done with that. Now, as for the turntable itself, I just want to talk a little bit about U-Turn, the company. I go way back, over 10 years with this company. I know the people. I know how they've approached this project of making turntables in the United States with mostly US sourced parts, including their tone arm. You know, at these prices, the turntable price starts at $249 for the Orbit Basic, which is one of their biggest sellers. In other words, the basic model without any options or anything. It's not just, oh, we have it there to show you that the price is low. No, a big chunk of their sales are the $249 model. Now, I'm going to review a fully loaded model. It's called the Orbit Custom, which has many, but not all the options, and it works out to be about $550. But between $250 and $550, there's a lot of places that you can go. Now, one of the things that distinguishes the Gen 2 model from the original Orbit is the tone arm, which has a one-piece magnesium tube, which is something you usually see in much more expensive arms and turntables. And the back end of the arm, where the bearings are, those are gimbal bearings, and I found the feel of the bearings really, really good. Not sloppy, not rattling or anything. No, really first-class bearings. Now, the arm comes with a cartridge already pre-mounted on it, your choice, because each Orbit turntable is built to order, and there are 5 cartridge options. I'll put them up on the screen right now. The optional cueing device is very nicely done. It has a one-piece metal cueing lever, feels good in your hand. Matter of fact, the whole turntable, operating the turntable, feels good. And the action, the lowering action, is nice and smooth. It doesn't just drop the arm, the cartridge into the groove. No, it's classy. Very, very nice. Now, the arm does lack a couple of things. The anti-skate, there's no adjustable anti-skate, but the anti-skate is pre-adjusted by the factory to some preset level. And there's no height adjustment for the arm. The back of the arm, you cannot make it go higher or lower for different cartridges. But to be fair, that's almost never seen on turntables in this price range. Now, the turntable can be sold with or without a built-in phono stage. Phono stage is $80. It's called the Pluto. It's, again, designed by U-Turn. And here's a picture of the inside of it. And I find it works extremely well. So if your receiver or preamplifier or integrated amp doesn't have a phono stage, you should definitely get the built-in phono stage. And even if yours does, if it's kind of iffy, if it's just like, sort of there as a convenience, you should still probably spring for the built-in phono stage. And by the way, the phono stage in the turntable is bypassable. So if down the road you want to get some, highfalutin, really much better phono stage, you can just bypass the built-in phono stage. So you can basically have it your way. One of the options to consider is the electronic speed control that goes between 33 1/3 RPM and 45 RPM if also play singles. And that's a very handy feature, but if you only play LPs or mostly play LPs and rarely play 45s, you don't need the electronic speed control. You can get the manual way of doing it, which is moving the belt on the pulley between those two speeds. Now, a lot of people don't like doing that. They don't want to mess around with the belt to change the speed, and I understand that. And if that's you, you should opt for the electronic speed control. But that only comes into play, so to speak, when you play 45s and LPs, when you're going back and forth. Then yes, you should get the electronic speed control option. And the Orbit is available in a range of colors and also a solid oak plinth. That's one of the options. So colors of your choice there, and also solid oak that's natural finish or black. Nice. There's feet. Now my sample here had the standard feet, which are not adjustable, but if your shelf or table is kind of crooked or something, you should probably spring for the height adjustable feet on your Orbit. I gotta say, U-Turn's dust cover is really first class. Most dust covers for affordable turntables are kind of flimsy plastic or they don't have dust covers at all. This one is a really solid piece. It's hinged so you can raise it up and play records, bring it down when you're not playing records. Yeah, the dust cover definitely gets high marks from me. U-Turn is a direct sale company, but they do have brick and mortar dealers. Yes, they do. But when you buy direct from U-Turn, the shipping is free. You get a 30-day home trial, a no questions asked. You can get your money back if you're not satisfied. That's really good. The warranty runs to 3 years. And if you're new to turntables and you're kind of nervous about how to do it, how to set it up, all that stuff, not a problem. The customer service, U-Turn's customer service, is in-house in their factory in Warborn, Massachusetts. And some of those people you talk to actually build the turntables. Yes, they do. So they actually know what they're talking about. So if this is all new to you and a bit scary to buy your first turntable or your second or 14th, they're there to help. You know, I did find that the setup super easy to do, but hey, I'm a pro. But seriously, there's not much to the setup. You take the turntable out of the box, the cartridge is already pre-mounted and aligned. The stylus tracking force is factory set, but you can adjust it for yourself when you get another cartridge in the future. You basically put the platter on the bearing, put the belt on the platter, and that's it. You're kind of good to go right there. I do have one thing to say about the sound of the turntable when I first set it up, is that the included interconnect cable that goes between the turntable and your preamplifier or receiver or whatever, that cable it's okay. It's very basic and it doesn't sound that good. It's a thin, hard sounding cable. So I would definitely recommend your first upgrade would be to get a better interconnect cable. You know, maybe $30, $40, $50. That will do the job. And the other thing is, this turntable feels good when you use it. I can't stress this enough. Some turntables, because turntables are a component that you handle all the time. You're constantly touching it to use it, right? And some of them don't feel good. They feel cheap, or they feel loose or wobbly or something, or floaty, or, you know, there's a lot of things that can be off-putting about playing records. And this one, the Orbit Gen 2, doesn't have that. It feels very well put together. The cueing is fantastic if you order the cueing. It just feels right. And that's a big plus that's hard to put into a number or qualified. I can just say that's how it felt to me. To start my listening sessions, I listen exclusively over headphones. These headphones, these are Audeze LCD 3s. These are very high resolution headphones, very open sounding headphones. And I'm listening to music, but I'm also listening for noise. That is the noise of the turntable's motor, the noise from the turntable's platter bearing, the arm itself. Was I hearing any intrusion into the sound of music? And also, basically, how quiet did the record sound? That is in terms of record surface noise. Because if you're not into the whole vinyl thing, you might think that record surface noise is just part of the thing of listening to records. But on a really good turntable with a good arm and cartridge, record surface noise should recede. That is, become less obvious. It is still there. It's always going to be there. But how much does it bother you is the question. So that's it. Motor noise, platter bearing noise, record surface noise. Can this turntable, can a good turntable make all of that, you know, recede into the background? And I got to say the Orbit Gen 2 did did that extremely well. Now, back in the olden days, meaning the 60s and 70s, I almost never listened to vinyl over headphones because it was too noisy, definitely for bearing noise, motor, all that stuff. It has since cleared up tremendously. And this is not exclusive to the Orbit Gen 2 that it's quiet, but good turntables should not be noisy turntables. Let's put it that way. And this one definitely is commendably quiet. To kick off my listening sessions for real, I used this Dorothy Ashby record from 1970, recorded in 1970. This is a recent all-analog remaster, and it is scrumptious. It's wonderful. It's everything that's right about 1970s analog recordings, which they were all analog in 1970. That's redundant. But anyway, this is jazz, but it's also kind of hippie-ish music. It has some gospel in there, some soul, definitely some funk. There's a lot going on. Dorothy is a harpist, but on this record she also sings and plays koto. That's the instrument on the cover of the album. And it's just wonderful. It's a time trip, you know. So there's so much going on, and it's so beautiful. It feels like traveling back to 1970. A great, great time for music, and it all came flooding back when I played this record over the Orbit Gen 2. From Dorothy, I went to the boss, to Bruce Springsteen, The Ghost of Tom Joad. Now, this is, in my opinion, the best sounding Bruce ever. But it's not typical Bruce. It's more like a folky record. It's a very acoustic record. His singing is really strong. He plays harmonica, and it just, the dynamics of the harmonica just like jump out of the speakers. It's really amazing. And but I don't know if this is for your average Springsteen fan, but I love this record, and it's a great way to listen to a turntable to do a review for you guys. You know, this Paul Simon record is one of those forgotten gems. It has some great tunes on it, some stupid things on it like Allergies. I don't know why that song is on this album, but overall it's a really good record. Little bright sounding, sparkly, you know, like that, kind of forward, but overall a good sounding record. And some of the tracks have these amazing bass lines in it. And I gotta say, they were bubbly and fast and clear and detailed. This turntable with the Ortophon 2M Blue cartridge, yeah, it was picking up all of that. It's not too relaxed. It's certainly not a bright sounding cartridge or turntable. It's just that this particular recording, this Paul Simon, is definitely on the bright side. I think maybe it has too much digital in there. I think it's when he was still, you know, whole hog into digital. But in any case, I was having a good time listening to this music and remembering these great songs. From Paul, from the sweetness of Paul, I wanted some blues. I wanted some low-down, dirty Chicago blues. And that's why I picked this record, Junior Wells with Buddy Guy, and recorded in 1965. This is a great sounding recording. Now, if you happen to be brave and listen to it streaming or the CD, a lot of what makes this record great doesn't make the transition. I don't know if it's just bad transfers or something. This record, I actually have 2 copies of this record. This record has that juice that the digital, I'm not saying because it's digital, I'm just saying it's maybe possibly the transfers, but if you've only heard the digital version of this record, you haven't heard this music that's coursing through these sessions. It's really intense. And again, the Gen 2 did not let me down. So to finish up, I played Abbey Road, specifically the track, just this one track, I Want You, John's track. And you know, so much of this track is instrumental, this thing that keeps building and building and building. It's more like a Beatles jam than any other song in their catalog. And it just keeps going and going and going. And the way John is just, you know, laying it down, that guitar part, and Ringo's drumming, and Paul's incredible bass line. And I think Billy Preston is adding that synthesizer whoosh sound to it. And I just sat there listening to this album that I've been listening to for 53 years. And I was in awe that it still sounds fresh. It still sounds exciting. It doesn't date, not at all. And with that, speaking of not dating, we're going to move right on to, so Steve, what do you really think? What do I really think of the U-turn Orbit Gen 2 turntable? I think it's pretty freaking special. The basic model, $249. This beautiful tone arm. You can upgrade down the road. Wow. Made in the USA, 3-year warranty. $249 sold direct, no shipping. It's pretty freaking amazing. So yeah, it's 2 thumbs up for me. I love this turntable. I love the company. I love their customer service. I mean, as they say, what's not to like? Now, yeah, I know that in the early days, the first year or 2, or maybe even 3, their quality control wasn't the best. They were sort of learning on the job, you could say. But it's gotten better and better and better over the years. And now, yeah, I think they're right up there in the big leagues with, you know, Riga and VPI and Lin and Project. I think these guys are the real deal. And that tone arm is magnificent. You can get an arm like that with a 1-piece magnesium arm tube on a $249 turntable. It's pretty special. So that's it. Now we're going to go to, of course, the audiophiliac viewer system of the day. This is good. This is Richard's 4-channel system. The speakers, there's front and rear speakers. Both sets are KLH 5s. Now there's an AV receiver, a Marantz 7011, that drives only the rear speakers. And then there's a Macintosh 2105 that's running the front speakers. The turntable is a Technics 1500C with a Grado cartridge and sometimes a Shure V5 or a Blue Point number 2. There's a DVR in here, a Sony 1100, and a CD player, a Marantz 5005. But there is a Macintosh 4300V that was once owned by the president of Macintosh, Mr. Maurice Panshoid. Sure, I'm mangling the name. I'm sorry. And that's it. Richard, that's quite a system. Thank you for submitting it. Okay, we are back. My name is Steve Guttenberg, and I am the Audiophiliac. If you like the channel, if you enjoy these reviews and the interviews and my chats with Herb Reichert and the thought pieces and all that other good stuff that I do here, please consider contributing to my Patreon. You could do it for a couple of bucks a month, up to $50 or $100 a month, and at the top tier, you and I will have a conversation at the beginning of each month. What else? Yeah, if you just like a video, and hopefully this one, please give it a thumbs up and like it, and also comment. I don't usually ask for that, but I think I need more comments on the channel. And if you have yet to subscribe, please do so. And with that, I can say my work here is at last complete. Thank you again for watching, and I really, really do hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Bye-bye.